Welcome back. This channel exists because of your support. Subscribe, hit like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Now let's get into the story. My wife looked me dead in the eye across our kitchen table and said the words that would end our marriage. I decide who I spend time with, Dennis. You don't get a say in this. It was a Tuesday evening in March. We were eating takeout Chinese food from the cartons, something we used to do every week when we first got married. Back when things were simple. Back when we actually enjoyed each other's company. I set down my fork slowly and studied her face. Brooke had changed over the past few weeks. New jewelry I'd never seen before. A sharpness in her eyes that hadn't been there a month ago. The way she held her chin up, like she was bracing for a fight. I'm not trying to control who you spend time with, I said, keeping my voice level. I'm just wondering why you need to go out 3 times this week. Because I want to. She crossed her arms. Because these are my friends, and we support each other. We don't judge each other's choices. The irony of her judging me while talking about not judging wasn't lost on me, but I kept that observation to myself. So when I ask where you're going at 10 at night, that's me trying to control you? Her face flushed red. Yes, it is. I'm an adult. I don't need permission to leave my own house. I never said you needed permission. I asked because I care about your safety. She stood up from the table, her chair scraping against the floor. This is exactly what they said you'd do. Turn it around and make me feel guilty for wanting independence. They, the women from her new group, the Minneapolis Women's Empowerment Circle she joined 4 weeks ago through Instagram. Except from what I could tell, it wasn't about empowerment. It was about complaining about husbands and drinking wine at inappropriate hours. The leader was a woman named Valerie who'd been divorced at 27 and seemed to collect married women as followers. Then there was Kristen, who had 2 kids with 2 different fathers and couldn't understand why neither man wanted to stay involved. And Diane, who was on her 3rd engagement and worked in some multi-level marketing scheme. But apparently these were the people my wife of 9 years had chosen as her advisors. Independence is fine, I said carefully. But when your independence includes coming home at 2 in the morning smelling like cigarettes and someone else's cologne, maybe we should talk. Maybe, she said, her voice dropping to something cold and final. Maybe I don't owe you explanations anymore. Maybe I've been living my life according to what you think is appropriate for too long. The kitchen went quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator. I looked at her, really looked at her. This wasn't the woman I married. This wasn't even the woman from 6 months ago. All right, I said finally. You're absolutely right. Your friendships are your choice. Your decisions are your choice. She blinked, clearly expecting more of a fight. Good. Finally. And since we're talking about choices, I've got some of my own to make. The confidence in her expression flickered for just a second. What's that supposed to mean? I stood up and started clearing the dishes. It means if you want complete independence in your choices, then I get the same independence in mine. Fair is fair. She followed me to the sink. Don't be dramatic. This is about friendship, not our marriage. Is it? I turned to face her. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you're getting life advice from women who can't maintain their own relationships. Her eyes narrowed. Don't you dare insult my friends. I'm not insulting anyone. I'm making an observation. But you're right. It's not my place to judge. I paused. Your choices are personal. The way I said personal made her pause. She wasn't stupid. She could hear the shift in my tone. What are you planning? She asked. Nothing dramatic. Just exercising my own right to personal choices. She stared at me for a long moment, trying to figure out if I was bluffing. I wasn't. Good, she said finally, turning away. Maybe now you'll understand what independence actually means. Oh, I replied quietly. I'm about to understand it very well. The whole mess had started 4 weeks earlier. Brooke came home from work one Tuesday, buzzing with excitement about this new group she'd found on Instagram. Women supporting women, she said. A safe space to talk about real issues without judgment. At first, it seemed harmless. Coffee meetups on Saturday mornings. Book discussions on Wednesday evenings. She'd come home energized, talking about how refreshing it was to connect with women who understood her. But then the meetings started getting more frequent. 3 times a week. Then 4. The evening meetups started lasting later. 11 at night. Midnight. Then 2 in the morning on a work night. And her vocabulary changed. Suddenly, everything I did was toxic masculinity. Every question I asked was emotional labor I was unfairly demanding. Every concern I expressed was me trying to reclaim my power over her. When I first mentioned that these new friends seemed to have a lot of drama in their lives, Brooke's response was immediate and sharp. "You don't get to choose my friends anymore," she said. "I'm not choosing anything," I replied. "I'm just pointing out that every conversation you have with them ends with you being angry at me for something I didn't even know I did. That's because you don't understand female friendship. We support each other." But the support seemed one-directional. Valerie, the group leader, posted constantly on Instagram about her married boyfriend. Kristen shared screenshots of texts from her children's fathers, calling them deadbeats while collecting child support from both. Diane documented each new multi-level marketing scheme with the same enthusiasm, never acknowledging the previous failures. These were the women teaching my wife about healthy relationships. 3 days after our kitchen confrontation, I did what any reasonable person would do when their spouse suddenly starts taking life advice from strangers. I got curious about who these people actually were. It took me about 20 minutes on Instagram to find the group. Amazing how much people share when they think nobody's paying attention. The profile was semi-public, visible enough to see the dynamics at play. The feed was filled with wine bottles captioned "Self-Care Sunday" and quotes about leaving dead weight behind. Photos from bars with hashtags like "Freedom Feels" and "No Apologies." The comments section was a constant stream of members bashing their partners, cheering each other on for increasingly questionable behavior. One post caught my attention. It was from 2 Saturdays ago, posted at 2 in the morning. A group photo at some uptown bar. Brooke was clearly visible, laughing, holding a cocktail. Her comment read, "Best night ever. Finally feeling alive." The problem was, she'd told me she was at Valerie's apartment watching movies. I screenshotted everything. Call it paranoia or preparation, but something told me I'd need documentation. That evening, Brooke came home later than usual, humming to herself. "Good day?" I asked from the couch. "Great day? We had lunch after work to plan this weekend." "Plan what?" She kicked off her heels and stretched. "Just girl time. You wouldn't understand. Try me. We're thinking about doing a wellness retreat. Get away for a few days, reconnect with ourselves. Adults-only resort. Wellness retreat. With women who collected married men like trading cards. Sounds expensive, I observed. It is, but we all decided we deserve it." She paused in the doorway. "When's the last time you spent money on something that made you happy?" Interesting question, considering I'd spent my lunch hour researching divorce attorneys. "You're right," I said. "Maybe it's time I started investing in my own happiness too." She paused, something in my tone catching her attention. "What kind of investment?" "Personal choices, remember? I'm sure you'll understand." I called my old college friend Mitchell that night. He was an attorney in Chicago, and while he didn't practice family law, he'd know who to call. "Dennis, hey, what's going on? I need some information. Hypothetically, how does divorce work in Minnesota?" There was a pause. "This about Brooke?" "Just information for now." Mitchell sighed. "Minnesota's a no-fault state. Means you don't need to prove wrongdoing, just that the marriage is irretrievably broken. Usually takes a few months if it's uncontested." "Why? What's happening?" I gave him the abbreviated version. The new friends. The late nights. The lies about where she was. The weekend retreat that was being planned. "Jesus," Mitchell said when I finished. "Look, I know a guy in Minneapolis. Gordon Fitzpatrick. He's sharp and he doesn't mess around. Want me to send you his contact?" "Yeah, send it over." "You sure about this path? Once you start, it's hard to walk back." "I'm not starting anything. I'm just gathering information, making personal choices." "All right, man. I'll text you his number." "And Dennis? Document everything." "Already am." Thursday evening, I tried one more time to reach her. Really reach her, not just exchange accusations across battle lines. She came home at 6, earlier than usual. I took it as a sign. "Can we talk?" I asked. "About us?" Her guard went up immediately. "What about us? I feel like we're disconnected. When did we stop being a team?" She set down her purse slowly. "Maybe we were never a team. Maybe I was just following your lead this whole time. Is there someone else?" The question came out before I could stop it. Why do men always jump to that? She shook her head. "This is about me finding me, not about replacing you with someone else." "Then help me understand what's happening. Because from where I sit, my wife is staying out until 2 in the morning, lying about where she's been, and getting life advice from women whose lives are falling apart. You don't know them. I know what they post online. I know their track record. 3 divorces between the 3 of them. For kids with absent fathers. 7 jobs lost in the past year. But sure, they're qualified to tell you how to live your life. They understand me. They're using you to validate their own choices. They need you to fail so they don't feel so bad about failing themselves. Brooke's face went red. Get out. This is my house too. Then I'm leaving. She grabbed her purse and headed for the stairs. I heard her on the phone immediately, her voice carrying down through the vents. He's starting to suspect, she said to whoever was on the other end. No, I didn't tell him. This weekend will be perfect timing. Perfect timing for what? I wondered. But I was pretty sure I already knew the answer. Friday afternoon, Brooke came downstairs with a weekend bag already packed. She'd bought new clothes, I noticed. Expensive ones. And the bag itself was new too. The group is doing a wellness retreat in Duluth, she announced. Leaving after work, back Sunday evening. I looked up from my coffee. Duluth? In March? It'll be freezing. We're staying at the Suites Hotel with spa access. Very exclusive. I nodded slowly, noticing the new lingerie visible in her half-open bag. Tag still on. I already requested the time off work, she continued. This isn't a discussion. You're absolutely right, I said. Your choices are personal. Have a good time. She studied my face, looking for signs of the argument she expected. When she didn't find any, she seemed almost disappointed. You're really okay with this? I met her eyes directly. You said I don't get a say? I'm respecting that. Oh, she picked up her bag. Well, good. Valerie picked her up at 5. I watched from the window as all 4 women piled into the car, already passing a flask between them before they even left our driveway. They were laughing, loud and carefree. Brooke didn't look back at the house once. The moment her car disappeared around the corner, I went into motion. First call was to Gordon Fitzpatrick, the attorney Mitchell had recommended. I left a message requesting a Monday morning appointment. Then I started documenting. I photographed every room in our house, every piece of furniture we'd bought together, every appliance, every detail of our shared life. I pulled copies of our financial records, our marriage license, insurance documents. I organized all the screenshots from Instagram into a folder with dates and timestamps. Next came the practical matters. I opened my laptop and transferred half our joint savings into a new personal account. $18,000 for $100. Exactly half. Then I started packing. 2 suitcases with essentials. Clothes, toiletries, important documents. Things I'd need if I wasn't coming back. My younger brother Calvin lived in Milwaukee, about 3.5 hours away. I called him. Hey, Dennis. What's up? Can I crash with you for a bit? There was a pause. How long is a bit? Might be permanent. Jesus. What happened? I'll explain when I get there. Is your guest room available? Yeah, man. Yeah, of course. You okay? I will be. Saturday morning started with a text from Brooke at 9:47. Just finished yoga session. So relaxing. I pulled up the Suites Hotel Duluth website. No yoga facilities. 10 minutes later, Valerie posted an Instagram story. The 4 of them at the hotel bar with mimosas, Duluth skyline visible through the windows behind them. Brooke was clearly visible in the background, laughing, her hand resting on some man's shoulder. I saved the screenshot. The afternoon passed quietly. I loaded my truck with the packed items. My neighbor Patricia saw me from her yard. Going somewhere, Dennis? Just making some personal choices, Patricia. She gave me a look that said she understood more than I'd said, but she just nodded. Well, you take care of yourself. I will. Thank you. At 7:23 that evening, my phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Hey man, is this Dennis? The voice was male, mid-30s, slightly drunk. Who's asking? Look, I'm at the Canal Park bar in Duluth. Your wife is here saying she's separated. Just thought you should know before things went any further. My hand tightened on the phone. Before what? Before anything happens. She's buying rounds. Took her ring off, telling everyone she's single. My sister went through the same thing. Her friends convinced her to trash her marriage. Destroyed her family. I just thought you'd want to know. I appreciate the call. Yeah, man. Good luck. He hung up. I sat there for a moment, phone still in my hand, feeling something cold settle in my chest. Then I checked Instagram. Kristen had posted 7 minutes ago a photo of all 4 women at the Canal Park bar, exactly where the caller said they'd be. Brooke was front and center in a tight red dress I'd never seen before. No wedding ring visible. She was sitting close to two men, laughing at something one of them had said. The caption read, "Girls' weekend equals freedom weekend. Living my best life." 47 comments, mostly from other group members. "You deserve this. Finally breaking free. Your happiness matters." I saved that screenshot too. That night, I sat at our kitchen table and wrote a letter. Not typed. Handwritten. More personal that way. More real. I kept it simple. Factual. No anger. No pleading. Just the truth laid out in clear terms. "Brooke, you wanted to decide who you spend time with without my input. I respect that choice. You said I don't get a say in your decisions. You were right. Independence means living with all the consequences of your choices, not just the fun ones. You told strangers this weekend that you were separated. I'm making that true. Divorce papers will be filed Monday. My attorney will contact you Tuesday. You're free now. Completely free. This is what you wanted. Dennis." I placed the letter in an envelope on the kitchen table. Then I removed my wedding ring and set it on top of the envelope. By midnight, my truck was loaded. I took one last look at the house we'd bought together 5 years ago. The kitchen where we'd cooked dinners. The living room where we'd watched movies. The bedroom where we'd made plans for a future that was never going to happen now. Then I locked the door, left my keys on the counter, and drove to Milwaukee. Sunday morning, I was unpacking boxes in Calvin's guest room when my phone started ringing. Unknown number. Then another. Then another. Calvin poked his head in. "Dude, you're popular today. It's Brooke. Using different phones. You gonna answer?" "No." The text started at 2:34. "Dennis, answer your phone now." 2:41. "This isn't funny. Where are you?" 2:55. "I came home early. Why is the house like this? Where are your clothes?" 3:12. "Call me." 3:28. "I found your letter. This is insane. We need to talk." I sent one text back. "Check kitchen table. Everything you need to know is there. Your independence starts now." Then I blocked all the unknown numbers and powered off my phone. Calvin, who was monitoring Brooke's social media through a fake account he'd created, showed me what she was posting. An Instagram story at 3:45, deleted within minutes, but he'd screenshot it. A crying selfie with the caption, "When you realize you made the biggest mistake of your life." A Facebook post at 4:02. "Has anyone seen Dennis Crawford? Emergency. Please message me." The comments flooded in from her group members. "What happened? Are you okay? Where's Dennis?" But the support she'd gotten all weekend was notably absent now that real consequences had arrived. Monday morning, I sat across from Gordon Fitzpatrick in his downtown Minneapolis office. He was in his 50s, gray hair, sharp eyes that had probably seen every version of this story. I handed him the folder I'd prepared. Screenshots, timeline, documentation of her lies, photos from the weekend showing her without her ring. He flipped through it silently. "This is remarkably thorough. I'm an analyst. I analyze. Minnesota's a no-fault state, but this documentation helps establish timeline and pattern of abandonment." He looked up at me. "I can file today. She'll be served tomorrow. Are you certain? This is final once it's in motion." I thought about her hand on that stranger's shoulder. Her missing wedding ring. The text I'd seen on her phone about perfect timing. She was certain when she took off her ring and told strangers she was separated. "I'm just making her story true." Gordon nodded. "All right then, let's proceed." By Monday afternoon, Brooke had somehow found Calvin's address. His girlfriend spotted her car in the parking lot from their window. "She's been there for 30 minutes, Calvin told me over the phone. "Looks rough, man. You sure you don't want to talk to her?" "I'm sure. She's crying in her car. She made choices. Now she lives with them." That evening, she tried calling my work. My boss, who I'd warned that morning, had his assistant screen the calls. She emailed me. I set up a filter to archive them on Red. She even called my parents in Florida. They told her they supported their son's decision. Then she posted on Facebook, making it public this time. "Sometimes you don't know what you have until it's gone. I'm so sorry, Dennis. Please give me a chance to explain." The comments were different now. Not the cheerleading from her empowerment group. Questions from old friends. Concerns from family members. People who'd known us as a couple were confused, worried, asking what happened. But Valerie, Kristen, and Diane were silent. Tuesday morning, the process server delivered the divorce papers to Brooke at her work. Her coworker later posted a vague Facebook status about watching someone's world crumble at the office. Brooke called me 47 times between 11 and 6. I didn't answer any of them. That evening, she posted an Instagram story. I made mistakes. I was influenced by people who didn't have my best interests at heart. Dennis, if you see this, please call me. The comments from her empowerment group were notably absent. Different voices appeared instead. What happened? Are you okay? Where are your friends now? Wednesday morning at 7, aggressive doorbell ringing woke the whole apartment. Calvin answered the door to find Brooke's sister Tiffany and her mother Ellen. We need to speak to Dennis, Tiffany demanded. Now. He doesn't want to see Brooke. This is family. He needs to hear us out. I came to the door. I don't need to hear anything. Tiffany stepped forward. She made a mistake. One mistake. You're throwing away 9 years over one weekend. It wasn't one mistake, I said calmly. It was 4 weeks of choices. It was lying about where she was. It was taking off her ring. It was telling strangers she was separated. Those aren't mistakes. Those are decisions. Ellen, Brooke's mother, looked at me with tired eyes. She's devastated. She hasn't eaten in days. And I should care about the feelings of someone who didn't care about mine? You're being cruel, Tiffany said. I'm being consistent. She wanted independence from my input. She has it. Think about your future children. I'm not having children with someone I don't trust. I closed the door. They pounded on it for 5 more minutes before giving up. Later, Tiffany posted on Facebook about cold-hearted people who'd rather be right than happy. Ellen, surprisingly, left a comment that made me think she understood more than her daughter did. The full quote is, "The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. Maybe he understands loyalty better than you think." Tiffany deleted the post an hour later. Thursday afternoon, I was working from a coffee shop near Calvin's apartment when 3 women slid into the booth across from me uninvited. Valerie, Kristen, and Diane. The empowerment circle in person. We need to talk about what you're doing to Brooke, Valerie said. I closed my laptop. I'm not doing anything to Brooke. I'm removing myself from her life. Exactly what she wanted. She was just trying to find herself, Kristen protested. And she found herself. In a bar in Duluth. Without her wedding ring. Sitting with strange men. Mission accomplished. Diane leaned forward. You're punishing her for having friends. I pulled out my phone and showed them screenshots of their own posts. The husband bashing. The encouragement to dump dead weight. The celebrations of marital problems. These are your posts, I said. You 3 have 3 divorces, for broken engagements, 5 kids with absent fathers, and 7 jobs lost between you in the past year. But somehow, you're qualified to give marriage advice? Valerie's face went red. Our personal lives have nothing. Are exactly what you projected onto my wife. Misery loves company. You wanted her to fail like you did. That's not fair, Kristen said weakly. You know what's not fair? Convincing a woman in a stable marriage to throw it away so you'd all feel better about your own failures. Diane tried one more angle. If she cuts us off, will you reconsider? You're asking if I'll take back a wife who only changes when faced with consequences? That's not change. That's panic. The answer is no. I left cash for my coffee and walked out. That evening, I received an anonymous text. Someone had screenshot the group's private messages and sent them to me. Probably one of their ex-boyfriends or angry former members. The messages showed them panicking, blaming each other for how the advice had backfired. Valerie, I told you guys she wasn't ready for full independence. Kristen, you're the one who said men need to be taught lessons. Diane, maybe we should have encouraged counseling instead. The empowerment circle was eating itself alive. Friday afternoon, I got a call from Brooke's boss. Roger and I had met at several company events over the years. Dennis, I'm calling as a courtesy. Brooke's performance has declined significantly. She's missed 3 days this week, and today she broke down crying in a client meeting. I appreciate you telling me, Roger, but that's not my concern anymore. I know something's going on. She's told people here you filed for divorce. Is there any chance of reconciliation? I hate to see this affecting her career. The divorce is proceeding. What she does with her career is her choice. Understood. I had to ask. That evening, my old college roommate Lance called. Man, I saw Brooke at Target. She looked destroyed. Like, physically different. What happened? I explained the full story. Jesus, Lance said when I finished. I had no idea. She told people you were being controlling. Of course she did. That was easier than admitting the truth. For what it's worth, seeing her now, she knows she messed up. Knowing it and living with it are two different things. The following Monday, 2 weeks after I'd left, Brooke asked to meet in person. I agreed, choosing a Caribou Coffee in Richfield. Neutral territory. She was already there when I arrived, 15 minutes early. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. Her carefully styled hair was pulled into a messy ponytail. No makeup. Clothes that hung loose on a frame that had lost weight. I sat down across from her without ordering anything. Thank you for agreeing to meet. She started immediately. You said it was urgent. What do you need? I need you to understand. I was confused. Those women, they made everything seem so simple. They made it seem like you were the problem. And now I see they were the problem. I cut them off. All of them. Blocked them, deleted Instagram, everything. Good for you. You learned something. She leaned forward desperately. So we can talk about fixing this? There's nothing to fix. It's broken. But I changed. I see what I did wrong. You changed because you faced consequences. That's not growth. That's panic. Real change happens before consequences, not after. Tears started streaming down her face. I love you. I never stopped loving you. You loved having me as a safety net. You loved knowing I'd be there while you played single. That's not the same thing. I wasn't playing single. I was trying to find myself. You found yourself. In Duluth. Without your ring. Telling men you were separated. You found exactly who you are. That wasn't me. That was the wine, the pressure from the group. Adults don't get to blame wine and peer pressure. You made choices. Own them. Her voice broke. What do you want me to do? Get on my knees? Beg. I want you to understand that actions have consequences. You wanted independence. You have it. All of it. So that's it. 9 years means nothing? I stood up. 9 years meant everything. Right up until you decided they didn't. I walked out. Through the window, I could see her sitting there, crying into her hands. The barista approached her after a while, probably asking if she was okay. She left without answering. 2 weeks later, Gordon called with an update. Brooke's attorney is requesting mediation. She's willing to let you keep the house if you'll delay the divorce. Why would she do that? Between you and me? I think she's hoping you'll change your mind during the delay. No delay. Standard division. House gets sold, we split proceeds. You're sure? The house market's good right now. You could keep it. I don't want anything that reminds me of who I thought she was. Over the next month, the dominoes continued to fall. Valerie's married professor got caught when his wife found their messages. He was facing a disciplinary hearing at the University of Minnesota. Valerie lost her side job doing social media for his department. She posted a desperate status about being used and betrayed. Kristen's children's fathers both filed for formal custody evaluation. Her Facebook posts about her party lifestyle were being used as evidence against her. She made her account private and deleted most of her posts. Her final public message was an apology for giving advice she wasn't qualified to give. Diane's third fiancé called off their wedding after discovering the debt she'd accumulated from failed multi-level marketing schemes. Her engagement ring appeared on Facebook Marketplace 3 days later. She posted a long apology about encouraging behaviors she couldn't live with herself. And Brooke posted her own statement. I destroyed my marriage by listening to people who couldn't maintain their own relationships. I take full responsibility. Dennis was right about everything. The comments flooded in. Some supportive, many critical. She didn't respond to any of them. 3 months after I'd filed, we met at the Hennepin County Courthouse for the final hearing. Brief, procedural, almost anticlimactic after everything that had led to this moment. Brooke looked smaller than I remembered. Paler. Older. She tried to make eye contact with me several times during the proceedings. I looked straight ahead. The judge reviewed the papers. The marriage is hereby dissolved. Division of assets as agreed. 11 minutes. 9 years reduced to 11 minutes and a judge's signature. Outside the courthouse, Brooke lingered while her attorney tried to guide her away. Finally, she approached me before I could reach my car. Can we talk? Just 5 minutes? What's left to say? That I understand now. That I see what I had and what I threw away. Good. Hold on to that understanding. It'll help you not make the same mistake twice. With someone else, you mean? I mean in general. With friends, family, whoever. Understanding that people have value before you lose them. Do you hate me? No. I don't hate you at all. Do you still love me? I thought about that carefully. I love who you were. I don't know who you are now. I'm trying to be better. Be better for yourself. Not for me. Not for any man. For you. Are you seeing anyone? That's not your concern anymore. That's a yes then. That's a we're divorced now. My life is my own. She nodded slowly. I see you sometimes. Around town. You look happy. I am happy. I'm glad. I mean that. You deserve to be happy. So do you. Just not with me. If I had it to do over. But you don't. Nobody does. That's why choices matter. Will you ever forgive me? I already have. Forgiveness is for my peace, not your comfort. But forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. What does it mean then? It means I hope you find what you're looking for. I hope you learn from this. I hope you become someone who values what they have. Just not with me in the picture. We stood in silence for a moment. The spring sun was warm on my face. Somewhere nearby, someone was laughing. Life continuing on around us while ours together ended. Take care of yourself, Brooke. I walked to my car. In the rearview mirror, I could see her still standing there, watching me drive away. Her attorney put a hand on her shoulder and guided her toward their car. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I was building a new life. I'd moved into a small condo in Minneapolis's North Loop neighborhood. Clean, modern, mine alone. Work had promoted me to senior analyst. I'd reconnected with old friends I'd neglected while trying to manage the crisis of my failing marriage. Started coaching youth basketball at the YMCA. Saw Calvin regularly. Our relationship stronger than it had been in years. And I was dating someone. Nothing serious yet, but something with potential. We'd met organically at a coffee shop, started talking about books, discovered we had similar senses of humor. She was kind, honest, straightforward about what she wanted. Everything Brooke had stopped being. One Saturday afternoon, I was at the Whole Foods downtown when I saw her. She was in the produce section with her mother, looking healthier than she had at the courthouse, but still carrying a visible sadness in the way she held herself. Our eyes met across the store. A moment of recognition. A small nod of acknowledgement. No conversation. No drama. Just two people who used to share a life, now living separate ones. She continued shopping with her mother. I finished my shopping and left. Sometimes people ask if I ever regret it. The answer is no. Not the decision, anyway. I regret that it had to happen. I regret that she chose people who led her astray. I regret that 9 years ended in a courthouse in 11 minutes. But I don't regret refusing to be someone's backup plan. I don't regret demanding respect. I don't regret showing her that choices have weight. 9 years is a long time to spend with someone. Long enough to build a life. Long enough to think you know them. Long enough to forget that people can change or reveal who they really were all along. Brooke wanted independence. She wanted to make choices without someone questioning them. She wanted freedom from accountability. She got exactly what she asked for. And so did I. Dear listeners, that's our ending. If it resonated, subscribe to support the channel. See you next time.